Hey there, Careblazers. Welcome to the place where we talk about everything dementia. If you are caring for a loved one with any type of dementia, such as Alzheimer's disease or Lewy Body dementia, then you've come to the right place. I'm Natalie Edmonds, a board-certified geropsychologist, and I specialize in working with people with dementia and the family members taking care of them. In today's video, we are going to talk about a common symptom of dementia, and that is repetition. Does your loved one repeat the same questions over and over again? Does your loved one repeat the same questions over and over again? Does your loved one repeat the same? Okay, you get the point here. In today's video, we're going to talk about how to cope with the constant questions. Repeating the same question over and over again is a pretty common symptom in dementia because memory is often impaired and they don't remember having asked the question, and they certainly don't remember whatever answer you gave them. And even though asking the same question over and over again isn't technically causing any harm, it can make you feel like you want to scream and pull your hair out. So we can't expect our loved ones' memories to improve all of a sudden, so we need to find ways to respond to the questions that don't end up driving ourselves crazy. So in today's video, I'm going to review 5 tips that other caregivers have used with success to help reduce the frequency of their loved one asking the same question over and over again. Let's dive in. Tip number 1 is the most obvious response in terms of how to deal with your loved one asking the same question over and over again, and that is to just simply answer their question. However, there's a trick to this. You want to remember that it's the disease that's causing them to ask the same question over and over again. They aren't intentionally trying to drive you crazy. So, of course, it's completely natural to get frustrated and irritated by it. However, as much as possible, just simply respond to their question and move on. I actually just watched Finding Dory this weekend, and you could take a cue from Nemo and Friends in terms of how they handled her constant questions and repetition. Just simply hear the question, answer it, move on, and remember that it's the disease and they can't help it. Tip number 2, in trying to find ways to deal with your loved one's repeated questions, is to find an activity to distract them. By getting them interested in something else, it can distract them from their focus on the question that they're constantly asking. So for some simple ideas on ways that you can distract your loved ones and activities you can get them involved in, you might want to take a tune into a video I did a couple weeks ago on dementia-friendly activities you can do in your home using items probably already hanging around your house. Tip number 3 on how to deal with your loved one's repeated questions is to consider posting some sort of visual reminder or cue in their home or in their environment. So for example, if your loved one is constantly asking about what's going on that day or when their appointment is, you could point them to a calendar that you have on the wall that lists all of that day's activities or lists their upcoming appointments. If your loved one is constantly asking where the car keys are, but they're not safe to drive, you could point them to a sign on the wall that says the car is in the shop, or that the car is broken, or that they're no longer safe to drive. Whatever you feel like would be the best reason or reminder to your loved one, you can write that on the sign, put it on the wall. So after some time of continuing to redirect them to that place on the wall, they might start to just go and look there. So this is a really good strategy if your loved one's asking the same question over and over again about something that you could easily jot down on a calendar or on a sign. Tip number 4 in how to deal with your loved one's constant questions or asking the same question over and over again would be to consider whether changing something in the environment could help reduce or eliminate the question altogether. For example, if you notice that every time your loved one passes a picture of a former family member on the wall, and that starts to get them to ask the same question over and over about where their family member is, that could be a sign that the picture is triggering the question, and consider moving the picture or taking it down altogether. This is true for more than just pictures though. If there's pay attention to when your loved one asks the question. And if you notice that there's a trigger around them, which a lot of times it's the case, consider whether moving it or getting rid of that trigger altogether could take care of the questions altogether. The fifth and final tip for ways that you could deal with your loved one asking the same question over and over again is to try to identify the underlying feeling of their question. So if they're constantly asking a question about a loved one who's passed away, identifying the underlying feeling of sadness, loneliness, or feeling scared and acknowledging that could be helpful. If your loved one is constantly asking questions about where their car keys are and they're no longer safe to drive, identifying the underlying feeling that it's really important to you that they get to where they want to go, and you're going to make sure that you do whatever you can to get them to the community center, the hair salon, the grocery store, wherever it is you think that they would want to go. In some cases, if there's not an easy explanation or an easy solution to the feeling that they're having, simply just hearing them out, letting them know it's tough and that this is a difficult time in their life, and just sitting there with them can be helpful. So again, paying less attention to the actual words and more attention to the feeling. All right, Careblazers, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that some of these tips will be helpful for you when you're dealing with your loved one asking the same question over and over again. Please consider subscribing to the channel and also leave a comment below about ways that you cope when your loved one is asking the same thing over and over again. All right, Careblazers, until next time, take care.